the... Okay. Okay, guys. This is my second stream in a row for the week. So hopefully it all goes well. Yay. Okay. So, guys, I will wait for a second or two. Get some more people in here. Let me just make sure everything's good here. I completely forgot about. Hold on. Boop. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So, welcome to the Talking with Dashing Foxie. So, second time in 2 weeks. So, hooray to that. Showing a little bit more consistency. Yay, consistency. Yay. Still don't have my paws on. I'm going to basically be talking a little bit and trying to, answer some questions that I had from the last show, and then tell you some good news. And it's not all going to be sad and depressing and everything like that, like the last one was. So, as long as you guys can hear me, if I don't hit my microphone every 2 seconds, I will be good. Let me just see here. Hey, Dashing. Thank you. Hello, Tony. I got Neo. Hello. What's up, dude? Hello, Pro. And hey, guys. Is from Novo. Okay. Hello, guys. And welcome back to the Dashing Foxie show. Okay. So, my last show, I told you I was going to have a chairman on. Well, I reached out to one of the chairmen and they said no. They literally told me I don't want to be part of the show. Maybe they thought that it was going to basically be a gotcha piece or anything. But for some odd reason, they basically told me no. So, minor setback. Doesn't matter. I'll try another chairman, hopefully on a different day, and maybe I can try to get somebody on here who is a chairman, because I really would like to ask some questions. And I would really like to start asking some, again, I'm not going for gotcha. I'm more asking for the impacts and other different things that this might have for conventions. Also, too, with the charities and stuff like that, I'm going to try my best to direct you the best way to help in conventions. Because I was looking up to do a charity for everything, and then I realized to myself, if I do a charity, what convention is, I'm going to do, and then I have to split it up. So what I'm going to try to do for the donations that I do want to eventually set up is I would like to have it in categories and see if I can find which conventions actually need the help. So I was looking online. They really don't give you a lot of information when it comes to, their budget financials. And, I understand that. I wouldn't want my personal information being budgeted out there, or anything like that. So, but, yeah. So, I'll have a chart too. Hold on, let me get the chart. Okay, so I made a chart. Okay, so I don't know if it comes up well on the camera or like YouTube or whatever. I have a stand, but I couldn't put it up because it broke when I was trying to put it up. So I apologize for the inconvenience. So I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna try to give you guys some good hoping news. Okay. Every week we are going to be on here. I'm going to be telling you if there's any new updates for a convention or if there's anything that is new that is going to be happening. So far, what my research has shown me is if you're going to a convention in August or September, right now you are safe. You can get to go to these conventions like AFC. AFC is going to happen, or IFC, sorry. IFC, the Indiana Fur Con. We have Megaplex still happening. So if you're going to Megaplex, enjoy. You have FM, which is Furry Migration. You still have that convention going on. And you have Denver. They are all ones that have not canceled yet. So hopefully they continue this pattern, and I will keep an update on them. The conventions that are canceled for this year, which I'm sorry that I have to do this because my dang thing broke. You have Anthro, Ohio canceled, which was supposed to happen close to the end of this month. So if you're in Ohio, I'm sorry. And then you have FE, obviously, and AC with Furry, if you're up in Canada. Those are the ones so far that has been canceled, and they are not coming back anytime soon. The only one that has been postponed so far is MCFC, but I have them in the postpone, and FE will be coming back next year. So far, that is the only information that I had. I looked all over the interwebs to see if I can find any more information about these conventions, and so far, that is my best solution that I have. Okay, so now that we have the convention stuff out of the way, now I want to tell people that I left a link down in the description below. Let me see if anybody's saying anything. Hold on. Furry is close to my home. Canadian con. Yep. Well, unfortunately, that will not be happening this year. And stuff like that. Oh, shoot. I forgot to go live on this. Oops. Okay. Forgot to go live on Twitch. Oops. Oh, well. Okay. So, so far, those are the conventions that have been either not impacted so far or have been impacted by them. So, I will keep you up to date on all the different news. So, now you're probably wondering, but Dashing, I have no person of a chairman here that wants to be, that wants to be interviewed. Yes, you notice I am by myself. Oh well. So, what I did a little of the boopity boppity, and I got some research for you so you can, keep an eye on all these different conventions and stuff like that. So, I'm going to try to get another chairman on next week, and hopefully they say yes. That would be very good. If anybody knows of a chairman that might be interested in hopping on here, email me, and I will try to get them on as soon as possible. I will try to. Again, it all depends on their media team, and it's a business. Let me see. There's somebody who again, I'm doing it on two. Hello. Okay. Well, hello there, Husky. So, now, I'm going to talk a little bit about FE and what I've learned in the video. Now, if you want to watch the video, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not the most exciting video in the world. Informational videos are kind of boring and kind of, what's the word? Boring. Yeah, okay, well, they're just boring. So, I'm going to give a little bit of brief on that, and you can watch the video. I have it in the description below, and they talked a little bit about things. So, I'm going to try to sum it up, make it a little bit easier to understand. And also, if you have any questions about your local conventions, I have been reading a lot about conventions in the last probably 7 hours of my life. So I should have at least some sort of information on different conventions that you might be attending and that you want to ask about them and other things. I don't have all the information, but I at least did enough research to give you at least somewhat of a brief, confident answer. So, now, let's start with FE. Number one, they did a forum, okay, on Twitter, which it was Twitter, and actually, technically, it was on YouTube. And they posted it to Twitter, and I put that in the description. So if you want to fact check me and tell me you're wrong, then go ahead. But here's what I've gotten out of it. Number one, they are having a con next year. So, round of applause for them, okay, which is good. It's always good to see a convention will keep thriving, okay? So, they also said in the video that they are actually expanding the convention, which that seems a little odd that you don't have a convention, then you expand it, but maybe it's because of the lack of space or anything like that. They really didn't get into the depth of that, unless if it was like the last of the video and I kind of like almost fell asleep. No, I'm kidding. But information is boring. But so what I've learned is they are having a convention next year. They are expanding their hotel, which is great. And what this virus did to them was, I think it overall gave them a sense of maybe we can do things better, which is a great thing. From any point of view, it is a great thing to always get a better point of looking at things and understanding them. So, also, one of the topics in their video that somebody asked, because this is a forum, they ask a whole bunch of questions. They said, are they going to have anything going on, you know, like a small little get together for a weekend later in the year? Well, they said in the video, no, they are not. They are not going to have any sort of gathering of 2 days or 3 days in the future. So FE is basically canceled for this year, basically. They're going to have all their small events, but unfortunately, they are not going to have any of their big box office blockbuster events. So, if I can stop hitting the microphone, that would even be better, because I can't see. Okay, so that was one of their topics that they had, and they basically went over general information. Are they going through bankruptcy? In that video, it doesn't seem like they're going through bankruptcy. But that doesn't mean that they still don't have their expenses. And according to their video, they said they still have the expenses, but they are basically not having to worry about the AV equipment, the radios, and all the other stuff, which is a good thing. But it's the expenses that might add up. So if you were planning on going to that con, just grunt the cash. And I know some people don't have that cash, but try to like move it into the next year, because that's going to consequently help them in the future to getting more money and more things to do, basically. So that's one way to help the convention, stuff like that. They said also too, if you want to register for the next con. Now, see, that's a very interesting point here, and I know I want to try to create a charity for people who are struggling, like you know, I want to do that, but it would be better if you go and do it yourself. And what I'm going to do at the end of this video is I'm going to tweet out all of the different conventions that were affected by this, and then what you can do is you can go to their website and try to, you know, see if you can contact somebody to give them a little bit of cash if you have it. Don't go and be like, here's all my money and you're gonna take it, right? No, don't do that. Just give them a little bit of a cash, you know, help them out, help conventions. Because really, what I want to see is I want to see what other cons are doing during this thing. And I feel like that was one good thing about their forum. They answered a lot of questions that I would have asked. So, yes, go check out their video that they have on YouTube and on Twitter, and you can definitely go check it out. And I recommend it. Another thing that they were saying in there is, you know, go help your local hospitals and stuff. And yeah, you should do that. And I agree 100% that you should go and help people who need it. But I don't think really conventions have it in their best interest to be like, help me. You know, if a convention's struggling, the last thing you want to do is go to the public and start crying about how you need money and how, you know, you need it to keep going on. So definitely go check out their video. It is a very good video. I would have put it up here and we could have discussed a little bit more in detail, but I don't want to misquote them in any way and then later going down the road feel bad about it. That's really the main goal here, is not feeling bad. Let's take a look if we have any comments. But just remember, if you have any questions for me about a local con that you had, I have been doing research on cons, again, for 7 hours. So I have a good idea of some conventions, and I have a good idea if it seems like they're going to be coming in the next year. So let me just try to see if there's anybody out there who's talking. Oh, hello, James. How's it going? It's nice seeing you in here again. And that's about it. Okay, so going back to the video too, and one of their topics was they did look at some different things, and I think that's what's going to really be the point of greatness to this, is they took a year off basically to step back and go, hey, what worked, what didn't work? And you could say, well, that's just one of those cop-outs, to get a good thing out of a bad situation. Well, it's kind of a good thing, because a lot of times when you're running a convention, and maybe I'm going to know this in probably the next 2 years, is that you're going to have a terrible idea, but in some form or fashion in your mind, you're not going to see that it's a bad idea. And one of their things that they said that was a bad idea was their registration for convention, panels and stuff like that. And again, it's a curse because you don't get money, but this also might be a time to where they can step back and reflect. And that's one thing that I feel like every con is doing right now. They are not just taking it for granted. Most of your top conventions probably take their, the people who go to them for granted. I mean, and that's kind of one thing that I noticed in conventions, and this is only from experience, is that when you go to a convention, it's always the same thing. You go there, you see a dance party, you see, you see the rave, you go to opening ceremony. It's always the same thing over and over again. And I think what's really going to happen with this whole entire thing is that where you're going to see a difference in transferring cons, that where you're going to have a convention and you're going to go, wow, this was actually different, because they had a time to step back and see new possibilities. And that's what I'm kind of hoping for all this. Is it going to be that perfect? No. You're gonna see the same things, but maybe you'll see a little bit of twist on things. And that's kind of way I want to see conventions go. So let me read any comments here. I think there's a comment here. What's up, Dash? Hello. Nice seeing you. But really, and if you really think about it, conventions do need a relook at things. Because the one thing I've noticed too is that there's no personal touch to it. It kind of got dull. So let me see what this comment is. This is actually a pretty long comment here. Okay. Speaking of the forum CEO and non-for-profit LLC, I like the idea of reining down funds we can use to save a little bit of each year. After our main event for the next year. And hold on. And hey, Dash, it's Nove. Hello, Nove. How's it going? Yeah, and I agree with that. Every convention, if you take a look at it, it's a business, okay? And I don't like saying conventions is business, but they are a business. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you take the whole convention and basically go, it's for fun. No, it's a business. And any business is you're going to find they have a structure. And what she was saying, or the person was saying, no, was basically saying this, okay? They had money to circulate back into the next convention, which is a good thing. Every convention even does that. If it's a nonprofit, if it's any sort of convention. So, and that's the one thing that's helping these cons that are well established. I cannot speak. If FE was not an established con, you would see it tank more than its fellow fellow people. Like, I think what really is going to hurt these conventions is like, I'm sorry, I'm blanking, I'm going crazy. I've been on my computer all day, but really, what it is it's basically a net. You're saving yourself from different types of situations. And that's kind of how a convention is supposed to be run. And it's supposed to be run like a business, which sounds boring, but it is a business. Anything that you do for that convention is helping your business in any form of way. That's why a lot of these conventions or cons, they have different fundraisers all throughout the year. A perfect example would be Megaplex. Megaplex has a huge picnic that got canceled this year. So you know what's going to happen with that? It's going to cut into their funds for the convention. So that is how a business is supposed to run. Now, some of it has to go to charity, but they can keep a percentage of it for their convention that might be happening later in it. So hopefully I read her right. I'm in my fursuit, so I apologize if I misread anything. So let's take a look at any other questions here. Are any of these cons that were canceled gone forever? Okay. Now, I can say yes or no to this, but I have been looking into different conventions. Anthro, Ohio, it doesn't say that they are coming back next year, which could just mean that they just haven't announced it yet, but it looks like the Anthro, Ohio might be going. And I'm not 100% sure, but I have not seen any other evidence so far to say, hey, they are coming back next year. For the fur one in Canada, Furry, whatever that one is, that looks like it will be coming back next year. If you go to their website, which I strongly recommend, everybody doing their own research, making sure that, you're not just taking my word for it. Go there, and I'll always tell people this, but it looks like they're going to be coming back next year strong, because they're already accepting it, and they're saying, hey, next year we are going to be giving, all the people who paid free registration because they already paid. They'll just move it to the next year. So far, that's like the only one that I see that doesn't have it. MCFC, still on their website, it says that they're postponed, which I don't know if that's a good move or maybe that was a hotel move. Postponing a convention is really tough. Okay, let's face the facts here. If you postpone a convention, you are not only losing people who had the trip already planned out, they already had the days, because not every job goes, oh, well, Johnny, I see 3 weeks from now you can't go to a convention because of the coronavirus. We will take that off. Now, a lot of companies won't do that. So postponing it, which sounds like a good idea, but it might interfere with other conventions or other things. Because if it was up to me and it was in October and MCFC came back and it's either for Apocalypse or MCFC, and I was originally supposed to go to MCFC, but now Furpocalypse is there, I'm just going to go to Furpocalypse. It's closer, it's cheaper, and it's just amount of fun. So postponing it might have been a hotel thing. It might have not been their own choice, just so they can ease the burden of having to pay anything. Because, again, it all depends on the contract. And what I've noticed is with these conventions, some of the again, they don't say it because they don't want to say it because it'd be bad PR if they know what was going on. But you could just tell that some of these conventions didn't have the act of God clause, or they didn't have any particular back plan. But again, that is only looking at it. Unless if I get somebody here telling me it, I'm not going to tell you it's true. But that's just from looking at it as a researching point of view. So let me take a look if there's any more questions here we have here. We have, I hope they do not cancel or postpone Conference this year. Cancel. Nova, we think about cons as we are getting through the AAP. All for radio we are tracking through and cons. We have also suggested to keep up to who. Sorry, I'm reading right now some of the comments on YouTube. Keeping up with our win. Okay. So, for Conference, doesn't look like it's being canceled yet. So, let's relax. Any convention that is in August, September, October have not announced that they've been canceled. So, again, I'm going to keep it updated. I'm going to keep telling you about it. And I will try my best to give you the most information. And so far, it doesn't look like it's going to be canceled. So, but that's only from my point of view. I haven't seen any evidence of it. And if I do start seeing evidence, that's when I'll tell you. But we also have to realize that cons are going to start up again. And it seems like so far, August and stuff is our best opportunity. It's the most hottest. It's the most, I feel like August is our best opportunity to get cons started up again. Now, will that con look exactly the same as it did last year? Probably not, because you're going to see, and this is the problem with it, and I don't want to say it's just contributed to fear, but I think it's more of a feeling of like, I don't know, there's a lot of examples like this, and you've probably seen it in your everyday life, that you'll go down the street and then you'll get the one person wearing a mask like this, and you'll be like, you'll just walk by them, and all of a sudden they'll like be scared and start walking back. Do I think that's going to happen at conventions? It possibly could. And I think that's where the fear is too, that, if Anthrocon would have went on, and let's say that they do, they start opening it up back in July, would Anthrocon look the same as it did years prior? And I think the answer to that would be no. You would get less hugging. You would get less groups of individuals. You would get less people interested in actually talking in different types of groups. So that would be one of the things that I think Anthrocon, even if it could have done, I think that would have been their biggest fear. And I don't disagree with them. If I was in that position, in any sort of position that I had to cancel a convention, I would have done the same exact thing. And I see where FE was coming from. And again, I'm just going by my line, because I was supposed to do FE this week, and then the chairman canceled, and then I was going to continue on down the list of conventions that were failing. And the one thing that I didn't get out of that forum is, if they would have had that convention, would it have been a normal convention? Or would it have been a bunch of people who do not want to be there? And of course, the travel ban and all this other stuff was starting to happen, but it was more of a fear of not knowing what is going on. And that can contribute to a lot of it, too. So, let me see if there's any more questions we have down here. We have, I need serious help. No, okay, well, I don't know. But, so, literally, that is what we were looking at and what I think that they were projecting. Now, for the other conventions, don't stop going to a convention. If they tell you it's okay, then you probably should go and enjoy it. That would be my suggestion. So don't give up on conventions in 2020 yet. Just pump the brakes and realize we still have all these conventions that possibly could be happening. So hopefully we get more questions. I did have somebody say Vancouver. Hopefully that wouldn't be canceled. And so far, I have not seen any evidence of Vancouver being canceled. So let me see if there's any more comments here. I don't know if it's... Oop. I keep hitting my microphone. I apologize for that. Let's see, Dashing, can you come up with a furry hug method of social distancing? Oh, okay. So, what I was thinking, okay, of a furry hug message that you could social distance. I was thinking about this the other day, and that's a tough one. You could do the air hug. The air hug might be a nice thing to do. You know, you can actually, go up to somebody. You don't have to stand 6 feet apart, but you can go, oh, hello, yeah. But then you don't really get the contact thing. So that's a very good question. Maybe what we can do is we could start with the feet, get the feet, but that would look awkward, because social distancing and hugging don't go along together. It is never in any sort of thing. Like the Japanese, I used to go like this, and we were we're a culture that we want to hug, and we don't want to do it at a safe distance. We just want to hug. And, it doesn't matter if you're a furry or anybody, you want to hug your mom. And you can't really be social distancing and hug. Now, maybe what we can do is, I think maybe we can go into, oh man, that's a really tough question. I was even thinking about that. Let's see if there's any sort of different thing going on here in the chat. I have nowhere else to go. Nothing helps other than furries communicating. So, what we are going to say about the hugging of furs is we're just going to have to accept the fact that maybe the very first couple, like one convention or two conventions in, maybe we have to ask for a hug. We might actually have to go into full, even if you know the person, you might actually have to go into full asking to hug them to make sure it's safe. And it sounds scary, and it kind of is, because, if I see a long friend that a long lost friend, or not even a long friend that I've been talking to online for years, your first instinct is just to go up and give them a nice hug and basically, go, oh, well, that was very fun. But now you might have to actually go up to that long friend that you might have known for years and go, can I hug you? As you're standing 6 feet apart, you give a quick pat and then you walk away. Or it'd be something like that. And it sucks. It really does. Because that's what a furry convention is sometimes about. People really like hugging. But we're just going to have to get used to it for a little while until we understand that you can't always hug, and it sucks. It really does. Trust me. I wish I could say something more positive, but that is something that's a reality. Let's see if we have any other people here asking questions. this is my last hope. Oh. Now, guys, if you do want to ask any questions, just let me know. I already had one person ask about the social distancing hug. Let's see what else. Now, will cons be it? So I'm hoping really what the goals here is that I'm hoping conventions get a little bit more creative with the ideas flow instead of just doing the same thing over and over again. But before that, if you are liking this, please hit the subscribe button and to make sure to press that like button. That'd be very helpful of you, and it would help me get more confidence to do more of these. I don't know. But I was trying to segue into that, but I really did it terribly, didn't I? Whatever. But conventions will continue, but will they look the same? No, they will not. So I was also doing some more research into a couple other of these conventions that I have over here. AC canceled because of the government. Well, I'd probably say AC canceled because of the government. And one of their things that they said that they tried to stay open as long as possible until it was physically impossible, until they had the government basically saying, now you got to shut this down. Which sucks because, I feel like that if Anthrocon would have went through with it, it might have gotten more backlash, and nobody wants to see backlash. And that's why the guy who I wanted to be on the show today was not on the show today, because he was nervous that I was going to ask some wrong questions and stuff like that. A convention has an ego. Every convention that you ever seen in the world has an ego. And I don't know if it's not a bad ego. I'm not saying that, they go and say that they're the best convention in the world, but they're also more prone to doing stuff that might happy, the majority of people that want to go. And that's not more of an ego thing. That's a business thing. And I keep trying to, do the lines. But do the lines of business versus a convention standpoint. And anyone like me who has done a convention or is doing a convention has to realize that that is always going to be their number one concern. It's always going to be safety. And if you don't do it the safe way, then you're going to be getting bad press, and bad press usually leads into bad things. So, and it sucks to say because everybody wants to be there, but they can't because of the simple fact is it's a safety issue. So let me see if there's any more comments here. Don't go to a convention. I know Corona sucks, but we all need to do our parts. Well, yeah, I agree with that. Especially, don't go and see your elderly grandma. Don't go and see your, don't go and see the people that are the most affected by it. And I think that was a good thing, because I agree that sporting events, I agree that all these different things that do have a large amount of people in them should not be attended right now. And, I know the idea of not having fans in the stands and, not having conventions isn't the most popular idea. But until we get a grasp on it and we start to know what we're fighting against, which I think technically we are getting there. And I know the curve is actually getting a lot less than, but still, if you just cancel the summer stuff and then go for again, I'm not a scientist, but I'm just saying if you cancel the summer stuff, I'm fine with that. Because, you don't want this to keep growing and then all of a sudden 2 years down the road, we're like, we haven't been to a con since 2020. And you don't want that. So I get where that's coming from. But make sure if you are staying home, just don't have your elderly grandma, kissing her or doing anything that might be not social distancing. Okay. Even if I don't like saying that, but sometimes it's got to be said. Okay, let's see. Let's see. We have, no. I think we have a vaccine by next year. An industry is going to force it on it. That I don't. That I don't know, because vaccines are one of those things that it has to go through trials. And I don't even know. We might have it before then. We might have it before all of it. The only thing I cannot stand, and maybe it's just me, is that you constantly hear all these people going out and getting their hair cut, and you know, like that I don't like getting into politics, but the one thing about it is if don't do what they're doing. That's really all I'm saying. If you see them going out, don't. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, darn it. Why do I? No, I'm not going to turn into a doctor. I'm talking about conventions here. But conventions, yes, I agree that they should be reconsidered until next year, whenever we do realize that there's a better solution to do it. Now, the hugging, the social distancing, that might be a thing. And wearing a mask to a convention sounds terrible too. So I think that would also fall into the category of I don't want to go to a convention if I have to wear a mask, because I can barely breathe already. And those masks, I can barely breathe. So I would definitely say that you have to look at the situation and determine if it's safe or not. That's really all I have to say for that. So let me see if there's a lot of comments coming in, and we'll see. Let's see. We have no. Well, we have a troll, obviously. Yippee! Damn horrible. I understand your pain. Went. I think. Okay. Well, whatever. Great job, troll. You're doing a great job in the comments. Congratulations. You're fantastic. Yep, good job. So, the one thing that I wanted to also say on this is, if they are in financial problems, and if they are doing stuff like that, just help your local convention. I would set up a charity, or I would set up some sort of different fund, but I'm still looking into it, number one. And number two, I also want to be fair that when I do give the money, it has to be done the right way. I can't be writing checks out to people who don't need it. And that's why I've been doing a lot of research on this. And I feel like if I do come up with some sort of solution, it's not going to be for another 2 weeks, because I'm still doing research on it. So once my research is complete, I can see which people, like FurCons, actually need to be, helped out. Then I can really talk about the idea of supporting somebody or supporting a convention. So I just have to take a look at different outlets, so I'm not accidentally, doing the wrong thing. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. Let's see. Why would you have to wear a mask? Why would you have to wear a mask in your full fursuit? And second, do you think that BLFC is going to be Halloween weekend? Okay, well, see, those are two good questions. I didn't really hear too much. I heard a little bit of rumors, and this is why I didn't bring it up, that they were going to do it on Halloween weekend. Would it be their best interest? Possibly. Now, whenever you're looking at, well, I don't know why you would have to wear a mask when you're in fursuit. I meant when you were out of mask. Let's get that understandable. That when you're out of fursuit. I guess if you're in fursuit, you're already technically shielded, and a lot of your spit is, taken care of like that. So that's a very good point. But BLFC, I was looking into it, and there has been rumors that it will be during Halloween weekend. The problem with Halloween weekend, though, is the tourism gets bumped up. So that means that BLFC would have to spend a lot more than they would usually do. And it's very skeptical to do it on a holiday like that because you're in a Nevada, which number one, well, not Nevada, sorry. You're in a gambling town. And I'm sure that there's a lot of businesses out there who make a lot of money on Halloween because of the costumes, the alcohol, the drinking, it leads you to bad choices. So to say that BLFC is going to be happening during Halloween would probably be a little harder to say than, like, let's say if FE announces it would be during Halloween, because it's more of a populated area that has a lot of business during Halloween. So it might cost a little bit more for them to do it during Halloween. That's why a lot of cons you see start in like January to March, or they do the back end of it, because their busiest time of the year is during holidays. And I was thinking about doing the same exact thing for the convention that I was creating. I wanted to do it during like 1 week after Easter, and they were like, no, you can't do that because it's going to cost a lot more for us to put on an event, and also too, you're going to be running into some problems in the future. So could it happen? Possibly, but I don't see BLFC coming on Halloween. Only my opinion. I did hear rumors about it, but I try to go to facts than the rumors. But good point. Good question. I enjoyed that. Let's see here. Call 411. Okay. Let's see. I would imagine you would pass out wearing a mask underneath your. Well, yeah. Anybody would pass out wearing a mask underneath their fursuit. That'd be terrible. Let's see. I imagine the cost, damages, and of the fursuit. Yeah, I agree. You could manipulate them. Fursuits don't filter anything unlike masks. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, and I agree with that. But you couldn't wear a mask in a fursuit. I mean, let's face the facts. You're gonna die from not being able to breathe, and you're going to die from something else than coronavirus, which would be the worst possible thing, which would be overheating. And, getting rushed to the hospital is not good for the convention or anybody's circumstance. So I don't think that masks and fursuits would be a really good idea in any sort of fashion. I was just saying if you're at a fursuit, you'd have to wear a mask while you're attending the convention, not really during or when you're in fursuit at the convention. Let's see what else. Regular soap and water works. Yeah. Now, I think what. Oh, well, hold on. I know that BLSC is on Halloween weekend since they moved it to April of this year because of the virus. My question is, do you think people will attend the convention if it still goes on? Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. Again, it's hard to read in this fursuit. I thought I was hearing rumors about it and I wasn't 100% sure. But, okay. Yeah, it would actually go on. And I think it would go on because of the simple fact that it is so far out of our spectrum right now to guess what's going to be happening during October. You don't know what exactly is going to happen. It could clear up. We could start seeing the curve even flatten more. And we could basically be like, well, we're cleared from it. We're still going to come up with a vaccine, but everybody can go on their normal day lives until we actually come up with it. And see, that's the problem with like expecting October, September, August. That's why a lot of these cons didn't completely go, we're done, because it's so far out. But if it does get moved, and when it does get moved, because I think it is going to happen. It is definitely going to happen, and I think that, again, you're going to see it a little bit different. You're going to see conventions just a tad bit more different. Hopefully that answered your question to the best of my knowledge. Again, can't see that well in this fursuit, but I do think it would happen if it does happen in the on Halloween. I think it will. Let me see. There's a lot of questions right now, and it's really good because I really like questions. I can't do this anymore. This one wants to help me. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Cheap airline tickets, a fursuit dream. I seriously. Okay. Well, I hope he was trolling too. If he was that bad, I really do. Don't want to see anybody get hurt. Never in any sort of fashion like that. Cheap for. Okay. So this is my problem with buying airline tickets right now. They are dirt cheap. Did you ever go onto a website and you saw the asking price for a ticket was like literally cheaper than dirt? No, you have never saw that. But I'm even hesitating buying my furry migration ticket because of all this stupid stuff. And I know September is so far out that you can't predict it. But you get like a sense of, if I buy the ticket, then I'm going to have to try to defer the ticket to another date. If I can defer it, it might cost me $300 just to defer the ticket to another date. So, in my best opinion is you play it by ear. So, if we start, like, I was thinking about maybe mid-July ordering the ticket, because if I order the ticket in mid-July, I'll know where it is going, to the point where I'm like, okay, I feel pretty comfortable right now on buying the ticket, because you don't want to go out and buy a ticket and just be like, yeah, it was like freaking $40, which some of them were. I mean, to get a ticket from here to Florida, I think when all this stuff started to kick up, it was only like $90, and it's like $90 for a two-way ticket. Oh, sign me up. But it was a precautionary thing that you don't do. You don't do it. Okay. First flu was, I don't get that. How do you think international fight bans will affect cons from each going on sooner? Okay. So, and I think that was another big part of AC closing, is because they get a lot of international travel, and I feel like that since it was closed at the time, that was one of their big strong talk points, to basically be like, hey, I know we are going through this crisis, and I know that if we do have the convention, we are going to lose all of our clients that come over from other countries. I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but I do remember reading their statistical report on because they do it every year. They make you fill out this one thing, and it's like furry science or something. And I remember reading one time that 40% of all the people, or I think it was like 35. It was close to like whatever. It was like 30 to 30. It was like 40 to 35. Sorry, I cannot speak right now. But were from overseas. And that is a huge hit. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, that is a huge hit for a convention. Losing close to 30 to 40% of your people is a huge hit for anybody. So I think that was one of their deciding factors too, because of the travel ban, and they didn't know if there would be people coming over here or not. And would they come over here? Who knows? They might also be scared as well. So I thought it was a good part on Anthrocon to actually do cancel because of that. So but it might interfere for a while, and then until people actually stop being so terrified of flying. let's see what else we got here. We have how the international flights affect the cons are still going on again. Let's see. I got to go love stream. Okay. Would you consider going to BLFC days if you had the chance? Well, I would. I mean, I would consider going to any convention. My opinion or my personal thing is you should try every convention that you possibly can as you continue on through this strange and awkward moving of conventions and moving towards different things. So yes, I would probably say yes to that question full-heartedly, because I do like experience other conventions, and if I could get a chance to go, I would go. If anybody has any more questions, we will continue on for a while. If you are liking this video, please, I cannot speak. It's pretty hot in here. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are liking this content. If not, then, oh, well, I mean, I guess you're just here because of my dashing good looks, I guess, or whatever it is. So, but there's a whole bunch of different things that we can layer on to all these conventions being canceled. And I know last time we talked about the financial part and the struggle of, I think it's just going to be a struggle for the very first year of us trying to get back to, I wouldn't say normal, because, okay, let's face it, guys. We are people going around in fursuits and basically hugging people and showing that that's not normal. But I would say that we are, and I really don't like the term normal, but I would like to say that we are going to be heading in the right direction, that where we'll see cons eventually going back to where they were, that where people are not that scared to be like, oh, don't come close, I might catch it. So even when the vaccine does come out, I'm hoping that we can get to that shred of normalcy, or not normalcy, but shred of, basically stuff like that. Okay, guys, so I'm going to try this. I don't have a producer anymore, so please be respectful if you do call in. Let me see this question, and then I'm going to open up my phone lines so you can talk to me one-on-one, and I want to hear your guys' opinion on all this different stuff, because I need to know where you're fitting in all this. So let me do this here real quick. What are you doing as we speak to keep your mind and body because of the virus? You work and try to have fun, or trying your best to survive? I will answer that question. Just give me a second. What advice do you have for someone who is new to a convention scene with all that's going on? Okay, well, I'll get to that too. Furries are okay. So let me first answer the question that I first read, which was, what are you doing with the speaker? Keep your mind. Okay, so what I'm doing, first of all, I have an essential job. I am a mail carrier, so I work every single day. And how I'm keeping my mind and my body is, I don't know. I'm talking to a lot of people. I'm trying new things to get out more in social. Trying to talk to more people, doing VR chat. I'm doing a whole bunch of different other stuff. Like, I might exercise a little bit more now, just so I can keep everything at a level of where my mind can possibly, function all this stuff. Because I got into a point where at one point where I was kind of like getting up, going to work, coming home, getting up, going to work, coming home. But what I started to do, and I recommend it for anybody, is I got up, I did something different. Like, I usually never eat breakfast, but what I did was I changed my schedule a little bit. I ate breakfast 2 times out of the week to give a little bit sense of like, okay, this is different. When I went to work, I would go to work. I would go to work different times each day to maybe get rid of the monotony of getting up, going to work at like, I usually go to work at like 7:20, but instead of going to work at like 7:20, I would like change it up and go like at 7:10 or 7, just something, because that's the problem with this is the monotony of it gets to you. It gets to your head and it starts to work its way down to the body. You start feeling lazy, you get tired, and then you just kind of go, ugh, I don't know. And like I said before, have a checklist. Have a checklist. Just if you want to do something and you notice you have more free time than what you did before, have a checklist because it is going to help you out in so many different ways. You will be getting done with stuff that you've been wanting to do for a very long time. So that's my advice to that. And that's how I'm keeping my body and mind in check so I'm not going mentally insane by this. So, even if it's sometimes really hard. Okay, let's see. What advice do you give someone? Okay, so this is your very first con. You have just gotten out of the pandemic, I'm going to say of the world, might as well face the facts. Even the swine flu killed, it's no comparison to what's going on right now. Everything's being shut down. So your very first con experience should be one of the experiences of before going into a hug. You know, normally when you're at a furry convention, you still ask for a hug, and you be respectful like that. But this time you're going to have to stand 6 feet away, 6 feet apart, and go, "Can I get a hug?" And then you can go, "Sure you can, come on." And then you can give a little boop, and then you walk out of there. And I think that's how it's going to be for a little while. The Diller's Den is probably going to stay the same. I don't see the Diller's Den really changing because everybody has their own little tables and they have their own things. You might not see splitting up of tables as much as it used to be. You might get a little bit more, I would say, artists that, that need a full set of a table. And it sucks to say that, but I think that's one thing that's going to really hurt is the artists because, if you look at Artist Alley, they're pretty damn close together. But again, who knows? Maybe that will be different. Now for dances, okay? Dances are going to be probably the biggest thing on everybody's mind. And the dances are going to be basically this, okay? You're going to go to a dance and you're going to go, "Oh, this is so much fun." And then you'll get that one person, and I already know it's going to be that one furry who goes, "You guys are too close to each other. You have to make sure you are 6 feet apart." And then you'll be like, "Oh." You'll stand, you'll still dance, and all of a sudden you'll get into a groove, and then, "Oh, what are you guys doing again?" So that's my opinion on it, that you're going, if you're in your very first year convention, just be respectful. That's like the number one thing you do when you're not at anything. And, but yeah, I think that's gonna come out of it. In your very first con, if you haven't experienced a con, I recommend you doing it as soon as you can when all this stuff starts to slither down and we can go back to some sort of convention feeling type of thing. And go to a smaller con because they're usually a lot better. Okay. Let's see what we got here. If we have anybody else, we have, hello, the wolf, Legasso wolf. I cannot speak. I was in the middle of talking and now I can't see that well. Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do. If you are new to this show, which, thank you, please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and like button. I'm going to keep saying that because I really want the subscriptions. But whatever. You're going to be able to actually call in to a live show. Yay! And you can ask me any question you want. I have my soundboard here. I'm going to try it. I'm not telling you it's going to be the best sounding quality that where you're going to cry when you hear it, because I have no producer. So I have to do it all myself. So I got to like look at it and make sure it's at the right levels and stuff like that. So, let me see if what I'm going to do is I am going to open up the phone lines. The phone number is 717-839-3684. If you call in, my cell phone, which is right here, will buzz and I'll be able to talk to you. We can discuss how you feel, what is your emotions going through all this, and hopefully we can make you feel a little bit better. But again, let me type it in the chat here. I'm hoping that I don't get any trolls. I would like real conversation, guys, please. I mean, this is a very serious time for everybody. So 717-839-3684. Okay. So that is my phone number. You can come in, talk to me live. I will answer my phone, and we'll have a discussion. You want to talk about your favorite convention, and you have any questions about it, I'll try to answer it to the best of my knowledge. Again, I have been doing research for the last 7 hours of my life trying to figure out different conventions and different things. I try not to spread rumors, and I try not to do the bad stuff. So I'm just trying to make it fair so you can call in, have a quick conversation, ask a couple questions. We could just have a good time. So let's see. Country code. Oh, it's 1. Sorry. 1. Boop. Okay, so it's 1-717-839-3684. Please call me if you're in Canada, Mexico. I think I have most of Europe too, so I think I'll be fine if you call in from Europe. And let's have a nice discussion about this, and let's talk a little bit about, how you're feeling about all this. We need, and I think this is going to help us mentally. You can talk to somebody, ask a couple questions, and again, there's going to be nobody going, well, this person is a terrible caller, because if they do, I will tell them, no, there is no such thing, except for if you're a troll, then you're just a jerk that doesn't have a life, I guess. But, no, seriously, just call in, and we will definitely answer. I have my phone right here, and I will answer any questions that you may have. Let's see, okay. Is Coffee Talk with Dashing Foxie? Well, yeah, I guess you can call it Coffee Talk, because but seriously, guys, you can call in, just tell me how you feel. I have to get it set up too. Actually, I can't do it right now because I have to wait for somebody to call in so I can set it up. But give me a call and let me know how you're feeling through all this. If you have any problems, or if you have any problems just dealing with something, let me know. If you have any questions about conventions, have any questions about any sort of thing that you want to ask, as long as it's in my line of bounds, and I'm not a scientist, so you can't ask me, well, I could direct it if I step 2 feet apart from each other. I can't answer that. I have no scientific data or any science background, so I cannot answer that. But I can answer any questions that you might have for your very first convention. How do you think this is going to turn out? I might ask you a couple questions too, We'll have a nice talk, nice discussion. So please, give me a call, and we can have a nice discussion about anything that is relevant to the current situation we are in with conventions. So let me just make sure my phone is doing good. Oh, great. He called. I did not know he called. Oh, well. My boss called and I didn't even know. Oh, well. He could have texted me if it was that important. But yeah, no. Give a call in, whatever. But I'll just continue talking about the current conventions that I do know of and the current things that I do no. I do know that AC is definitely canceled. Sad, but realities and stuff like that. We also know that all the other stuff that's going on. And again, my recommendation to you, if you were going to go tend FE, definitely get that. Oh, I got somebody calling in here. Hopefully it's a caller. Okay, caller, hold on for a second. Okay. Let me patch you through. I just got to change my settings. Give me like 2 seconds here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, good. Okay, hello. Give me a second so I can get the viewers at home your take on things here. So I'm going to try my best here to set this up here. What the heck, man? This is why I need a producer. I really need a producer here. Hold on. Okay, wait. I was working earlier now. Is it because it's all the way down here? No. Hold on, guys. Work with me for a second here. I do not have any sort of line of knowing what I'm doing here because I can't see stuff and it should be working. Hold on. So how are you, caller? Before I figure, oh, maybe it's this one. No, I don't think so. Okay. No. Oh my gosh. I definitely need, if you're interested in a producing job and you live in the state of New Jersey, please contact me as soon as possible. Because I do not know how I can get this to work, because for some odd reason it's not working. Hold on. Let me try something new here. Audio input. Do that. Okay, hold on. Oh, I can't freaking see anything. I have should be the UBS auto thing here. Okay, so, nope, that did not work. What the heck, man? Sorry about this, caller. I'm sorry about this, people out there. I had it working earlier. I just don't understand why it's not working now. It just does not like me. Don't need desktop. Hold on. I'm going to have to take off my first hit for a second. I'll try it for a couple minutes, caller. Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, guys out there. I'm sorry. I gotta ruin the magic here because I can't see dog diddly squat right now because of. See here. We have that. We have the audio, which is working. The audio capture device should be input. What is that? Yeah, that should be it. I don't know why it's not working. It should be. It's hooked up. It works for that. I don't have it on mute. Oh, wait, no. Maybe I did?
Wait.
Oh, okay, wait, never mind. I had it on mute. Oops.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, wait, hold on. I think I figured it out, guys. Say something.
Hi, it's Vera.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, I think it is working, guys. Please let me know in the comments here. Let me go back to my YouTube. Oh, that was really tough. That was really tough, guys. I'm sorry. Again, if you're interested in a... Okay, if you guys can hear the callers, please let me know in the comments, but I think now they should be able to hear you. Hello, Nova.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
All right, so you actually brought something up. Well, there's two things I wanted to ask you, but the first one was when you were talking about the dance, and the person was like, "You aren't 6 feet apart." I can totally see that happen.
Yeah, I agree. You are going to see. Can you hear me still? Right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. You are definitely going to see the overreaction of everybody during the very first couple of conventions. You are going to see the people who are like, "Stay 6 feet apart. You're not doing what the CDC describes, or the WHO." So I know what you're saying. Yeah, I agree 100% with that. That is something
Right.
that I think is
And
going to happen.
an extension on that would also be well, if people like are gonna let that, maybe they have, a lot of furries have like anxiety issues and stuff. I wonder how is going to affect people's like mental health. Like, do you think people are going to be too afraid to go to cons? Like,
Um, I,
and attendance might be down across the board.
See, I agree. Until we get a vaccination or until we get some sort of safety net that's going to be helping people in the long run, I agree that people are going to be mentally incapable to do cons, and I'm not saying that in a mean way or any sort of way like that. I'm just saying that it's going to be a fear of getting something or the fear of unknown. Um, to the point where I think that people, until we get this thing under wraps or until you start seeing it decrease pretty well, we are probably going to be in this endless loop of, well, I don't want to go to a convention because I might catch the furry disease, and they'll be like, well, now I can't go because my friend's not going. So I agree with that. I can agree in some parts of that. Yes, I can agree. We have the same capacity on that.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious about it. Like, I wonder what cons are going to look like. I really do. Like, I know we have some idea, but considering the last con I was at in Enter New England, and then I don't know what it's going to look like. It's going to be weird. I think it's going to be a weird experience. But I hope things get back to the way they were.
Yeah, and again, it's going to take a little bit of time, and we're definitely going to be able to get back to where we were. It's just going to take a little bit longer than people want it to. I mean, let's face the facts. If it was probably 20 or 30%, or maybe even more, of this fan base wants to get back to doing conventions, something that they really enjoy doing. It is an understandable feeling. So, yeah, I agree with that. Anything else?
No, not got any questions for me.
Well, okay. So hold on, give me a second. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody out there complaining about the things. Okay. Just want to make sure nobody's complaining about the phone call. Well, here's something I have to ask you. I mean, you're up in the New York area, right?
Yeah, Long Island.
Okay. So, how do you see your other furry friends reacting to all of this? Is this something that's really concerning them? Are they actually afraid to go out of the house, or do you find that you're seeing majority of them just want to go back to doing fur meets and other things like that?
Yeah, well, actually, my best friend, he runs the our local bowling meet, and we have it like every other Monday. But now it's canceled. And, like, that's where we would all get together and meet up and have fun. But I haven't seen any of my friends in kind of like 2 months. Like, it's really, we're all just kind of lonely. People, it's not like they're afraid. We're all just, at this point, we're all just kind of sick of it, as far as I can tell. I mean, we all just want to get back to having fun and just doing what we used to do. But no, they don't seem to be afraid or anything. Oh, I mean, some people are. I mean, I'm okay. Never mind. That was a mistake. Let's be real. I am a little afraid of the virus because I don't want to get sick. I mean, come on. But I'm not terrified to go outside. But
Okay.
no, I think everyone's reacting basically normal. Like, this is just another one of those things you have to get through. It's kind of like a disaster that just doesn't end like a hurricane.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
all right.
and one more question, I guess, since you are in probably one of the biggest hit places you could possibly be right now. I mean, let's face the facts. When it
Oh yeah.
first started, it was started around New York, and that was when we were very first understanding about it. Now, would you say now uh, going to the store, is that a little bit more challenging now, or can you still go to the store just like any
I mean,
other day? But you have to wear a mask and stuff, right?
well, yeah. There's actually a state law. I don't know about New Jersey if there's a state law for that, but yeah, here
There
on
is.
Long Island,
Yes. Yep.
yeah, you have to wear a mask to go to stores. They have like tape all over the floors. They built plexiglass in front of the register. like it looks weird.
And yeah, no, and it looks weird, and I'm hoping that it doesn't become a normal thing because I enjoyed talking to people, and you go down the aisles and stuff like that. That one way crap is kind of for the birds, and I understand why they're doing it, but I don't understand the the I don't agree with the plexiglass. I think that's just a stupid idea because if you're gonna get it, you're touching money. Money is probably the most dirtiest thing you could touch, and yet you're you're handing them money even with gloves and stuff like that. Eventually, they're gonna touch their face with gloves accidentally, and you're gonna be like, oh well, I got it. So, uh,
Yeah,
but
pick up, plug your cell phone with gloves on, and then oh, it's okay, I have gloves, but it's like it's on your gloves though.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah. So, well, hey, thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it.
yeah,
And,
of course, buddy.
and thank you for moderating the chat since you're one of my moderators. And hopefully, I'll be looking forward to actually seeing you at one of the other fur meets or at a convention soon.
Yeah, man, I hope so. All right, you take care.
Hey, you too. Thank you. Bye. Well, that was a very interesting call. And see, that's what the calls are mostly about. I'm trying to get people's reactions, trying to, answer some of their questions. His question was, obviously, will cons look the same? And again, I can't, and well, not the same, but will they be as much people as they were before? And that all depends on just people who are, they're scared. And I agree 100% that we're not going to see the same amount of people at MFF this year. You're going to see a decrease all over the board until we either come up with a vaccination or come up with some sort of solution that where we can be like, okay, I feel very comfortable and we can do it. Okay, I got another call. Hello.
Hey, Dashing.
Hi. Hello.
We're going to have a little bit of a delay,
That's fine.
but this is strange love.
Okay.
I wanted to talk to you
Okay.
as literally. Oh wow, the delay is really bad. Hold on.
Yeah, what I recommend to people is turn off your YouTube. Just pause the YouTube video or turn it off for a little bit. Come back to it, and then because it is a pretty bad delay. But you could just pause it. That's what I always try to tell people.
No, I'm not going to pause it. I'm going to give you likes.
Oh.
YouTube Red.
Okay.
Actually making you money.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
No, I said earlier that you're talking about how everything affects. Now, I'm really happy to hear that you're a mail carrier because I was a UPS driver for 12 years.
Oh wow.
I am now a grocery store worker.
It's a good retirement job.
Oh, gee, no, it's not right now. Holy I will not say the expletive on your stuff.
Okay.
But it sounds like everything's coming through good. Your sounds are good. It sounds like a phone call.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, you know how many people I've wanted to come across the entire counter that I work behind to beat the living hell out of them?
Well, first of all, the show does not require violence, but keep going. You're right.
Correct.
It's not. Yeah.
Correct.
Keep going.
We've shut down our stores to where the point where we open up just for the elderly, just for the police, the firemen, everything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
The police and firemen aren't coming out anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that a lot, especially going down where I work. I used to see a whole bunch of policemen, just patrolling the streets, and now I barely see anybody. So yeah, I agree with that.
And what what they're telling me, and when I actually get to talk to them, is they're dealing with cases to where they're actually having to, like, take this person to the hospital, get tested, be in seclusion, etc. The asshats are out. That's the best way I can say it.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem is, okay, so even if you do, and I'm a strong believer of, and again, it might not be the greatest, I'm not a political guy, don't say it. I'm a strong believer of the Constitution, okay? That's why I try to do all these voice and stuff like that. But if you're going to make police officers scared, and they have to do their job, right? Who is that really? I mean, they have a job to do, right? I mean,
they have a firearm. That's the last person you want to make scared.
Exactly. So what you're doing is you're creating, and I notice it too, because again, like I said before, I barely see cops anymore. But what about the real crime that happens when you're worrying so much attention on this virus? But what about the real crime? You never really hear about the people who, are robbing stores anymore. You hear about, oh, well, there's another coronavirus thing, because, again, not for it, but I'm just saying that the police officers have a lot of stuff on their plate. Now you're adding something additional to them. And I'm glad that you're staying open for them. That is, I will commend you, because I agree that, you are very essential. So, thank you. But I was just saying that because I talk to police officers all the time because it is my job. I'm a mail carrier. And, they're federal employees like me, and I talk to them all the time. And that was actually one of the police officers' gripes about this whole entire thing. I'm sorry. I got a little off track there, but keep going.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Brother, you're fine.
Okay.
I worked for UPS for 12 years. You're you're a mail carrier.
Yeah.
So, and I can make a joke about that.
Oh, well. You can make tons of jokes. I probably heard a lot of them.
No, don't worry about it.
Okay.
One of the things that we try to do as grocery store workers is maintain each other's safety. And we do that, and we talk to each other. And literally, my crew at my store knows to grab me right away. If I'm working, they grab me. I will do mitigation. I will do, hey, this is a 6-foot rule, blah, blah, blah. And wow, I can actually hear that clock.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a really old 1950s clock, school clock. Yeah.
I know, it's cool.
Yeah.
It brings back good memories.
Oh, good.
We had a grandfather clock inside of my home.
Yeah.
And it was always, hey, you gotta lift the goddamn weights on it, et cetera, reset it, know how to do it. But yeah, we've been facing, like, I'm at a decent, like, high dollar retail store, but all the stories I've been hearing from, like, Walmart, the other different, like, retail stores that are in my area, they're like, oh my God, you don't understand what people are doing. And I see it. I see it every day. They're not wearing masks. They're not doing these things. And it's like, please, for the love of fucking God, I walk around the store for 15 minutes in spray disinfectant.
Yeah.
This shit's not cheap. This is coming out of my pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my pay has been increased.
Which is good. Hazardous.
So my company has helped me. But still, I face the public every day out of this. And I've watched asshats and I've watched good people.
Yeah.
So what do you think we can do as furries to help the asshats?
Really, I think what we're doing right now with again, I know a lot of people want to go to conventions and all this other stuff, but I think what we're doing right now is a good thing. We are canceling the big groups. We are canceling all the different things that could possibly make this infection worse, right? So
Yeah.
I think what we're doing right now as furries are pretty darn good. I mean, also too, I mean, there is fursuit mask makers out there who are actually creating masks with their own material and basically giving it a little artwork so you don't feel like you have a little bit more personality with the mask. And the people who don't wear the mask, and I don't know if, because actually what I'm learning, there's actually a guy at my job who is allergic to the cloth uh, of the mask that they provide. And
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
happening is he's getting yelled at, "Hey, you can't be in here without a mask." But he's going, "What am I supposed to do if the mask that's supposed to be protecting me is hurting me?" And there is different types of cloth out there, but he also has a breathing problem. So the you're that see that's what I would like to say is, the mask is a great thing. It basically keeps you from giving other people, the corona or the furry virus, which I shouldn't be saying corona because they could shut my thing on YouTube, which I think is stupid. But what it is,
Worry.
yeah,
They shut the factory down for Corona beer.
yeah. But all I'm saying is when do I mean furries can and are doing what they are supposed to be doing. Now, in some aspects, it's hard. Most furries don't have the luxury of making 100,000 a year. They can't just go out and support their local hospital with cash. But if you do want to help in any sort of fashion, um, you know, just keep what you're doing. You're working your butt off, and just realize that conventions will come back, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. And what they are doing is, in my opinion, the best measures they can take. They are keeping fur meets are being canceled. You have furry conventions being canceled. They're keeping social distancing. Actually, a couple of my furry friends here in New Jersey actually went to a park, and they were all 6 feet apart from each other, walking into the park because they just opened the parks back up here in New Jersey. So there's the small things that we can do to eventually have a better impact. But I do think that a lot of these people do have the problem of they don't have access to talking to friends, and a lot of their friends are just furries. All my friends that I have, except for the ones that are at work, are all furries. So me not being able to talk to furries also hurts us too. So that's what I would recommend to any furry out there, even you. If you have a couple furry friends, you know, and the one park's open, keep all your distance and just go for a walk. That will be helping out the people who do have mental problems and who are going, "Oh my God, I'm going to kill myself," because there's nothing to do. The definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again. And I feel like that's what people are doing right now. They're doing the same thing over and over again. They're getting up, going to work, coming home, sitting at their desk, probably watching YouTube or something. And, which, watch my channel, please. But, they're just doing the same thing over and over again. Just a joke. But, yeah, no. So I think personally, I think that us as furries, we're doing as much as possible to help out the community by canceling these events. So hopefully that answered your question. Got off a little.
No, it completely answered my question. You got really in depth with it.
Yeah.
But I think the furry community is actually best set for it.
Yeah.
Because we are so virtual.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, when we do get together, we are the ones that understand it and have to be in close proximity.
Yeah.
Like conventions or etc. Talk to a guy who has to go to a fishing convention every day, and he's got old Bob putting his hand on his back, etc.
Yeah.
So we actually understand it a little bit better, more than most people, I think.
Of course. I agree with that. Okay, so can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get a good idea of where. Oops, sorry. I keep hitting the microphone because it's like right there and I can't see it. But I'm trying to get a good idea where everybody's coming from. You don't have to give me exactly where you live, but what state do you live in?
Indiana.
Indiana? Okay, so
Yep.
are you planning on going to IFC?
It's funny you asked me that. I was actually at the planning meeting for when the con before it actually opened.
Yeah.
So I don't make it to very many cons. I work retail right now for the past couple of years, and like I make jack and shit.
Oh,
Excuse
yeah.
my language. And Jack left town. So traveling outside of my city involves going to see my relatives. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Well,
But if I could,
oh, go on.
if I could, I would.
Okay. So even despite all this stuff this year, you would still go to the convention and still probably have a good time. I mean, it might not be the same exact thing that you wanted, but you would still go to it and not fear that you're going to get something to bring it back. I mean, that's the question I have here is, because I'm trying to get everybody's mindset here. You know.
Okay. For me,
Yeah.
I was raised by 3 nurses, some of them in ICU, as well as like that controlled like the major like first, like ready meds or first things that you would go to if you got cut, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how to wash my hands.
Oh,
I know
course.
not to touch things.
Of course.
So for me, it's not that bad. But I'm still a little leery of going in public because I don't know where you've been.
Very good point. You know, I could have been in a dumpster somewhere digging for the raccoon gold. You're absolutely right.
You're a fox. You're not a raccoon.
Well, I don't know. You don't know what foxes do. But no, I'm like, but no, yeah. I see, because that's where I want. You know, it's all about mindsets, and I'm trying to figure out where people's mindsets are on this. And it seems like you got a good head. It seems like you've got the awareness of hygiene, which is good. You should always be aware of your hygiene. It's not only respectful to you; it's respectful to other people around. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I'm not going to be nervous if I go to a convention. I'm going to just be like, I'm going to go to a convention, have fun, and then go out. But it'd be the mindset of just giving it to somebody else that might have the problem with it. You know, and that's the real problem I'm having here.
And that's the thing where you have to understand is that when you're in suit, you can wear your mask. You still breathe out of it. But when you're off your mask, see, the CDC declaration is that even if you've been closely exposed, if you're an essential worker, if you wear a mask, wear gloves, change everything, do all that, these restrictions are allowing you to, even if you are exposed, you won't be allowed to